Good evening, Wilmington. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. I have a question for each and every one of you. That question is, how many of you would say that you are living your best life? Raise your hand. Love it. Absolutely love it. Glad to see that. I want to take it a step further, though. How many of you would say that you are living your best dash? Now, I would expect those that came with me, I can validate and verify that yes, you are indeed living your best dash. But I also can see that some of you are like, well, what exactly is it that she's referring to? Well, I can tell you for sure what I'm not referring to is the 50-yard dash or even the dash for cash. What I'm talking about is living your best dash. As you can see, I have broken down the word dash. This is the dash that I'm referring to. Your legacy. It's, for some people, that dash, they think of it as something very small and very insignificant. But the bottom line is, every single one of us are going to have one of those dashes someday. It is that dash that sits between the date of your birth and the date of your death. It is the thing that will tell the story of your life. So when you go to a cemetery and you see someone's headstone that you knew, when you look at their dash, what does that dash say to you about their life? Was it a life of, would-haves and should-haves and could-haves? Or was it a life that took advantage of those opportunities that came their way? Was it a dash, a story of their life that was also in the moment and helped others to make their part of the world a better place to live? Here's the really cool thing about our dashes. We get to choose what that dash will say to others someday. So one of the things that I wanted to do is go out and tell people about living their best dash, but I wanted to break down the dash a little bit more that would make a little more sense to people as to what I was talking to and what I'm talking about. And so I thought, I'm going to make an acronym. So the acronym that I came up with, daring to achieve a successful and happy life. So let's break it down even further. First off, with daring. Are you daring to believe? Are you daring to achieve? Are you daring even to dream? Now, when I'm talking about daring, I'm not talking about what you see on the slide where I'm asking you to hang off the side of a cliff. No, I'm wanting you to be daring to believe in you. I'm asking you to be daring to think about the things that maybe when you were younger and you thought, oh, I'm going to be this or I'm going to do that. And somewhere along the way, we lost that childlike feelings and behaviors. Think back on the things that brought you joy, what brought you happiness. I'm asking you to dare to believe in the things that can once again bring your life passion and purpose. Because when we start daring to believe in ourselves, then we can move on and we can start thinking about what are those things that we want to achieve. Do we have that book inside of us that's just been waiting to be written? Are we also thinking, wow, I would love to travel more, maybe all over the United States, perhaps all over the globe? And it could also be as simple as, I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano. The thing is, whatever it is that you want to achieve, let it be something that you want to achieve. Because when you are daring to start achieving those things, then the next thing that you're going to start noticing is that sense of success. Now, the thing is with success is different for all of us. And there's many of us that think that we have to compare our success or being successful with somebody else. Being successful is not about driving the nicest and most expensive car or having the biggest home on the block, or even holding the highest position in the corporation. Success is what you define it to be. I got to be honest with you. There are some days that for me, my successful moment is just getting out of bed that day. I may not do another thing, but I got out of bed. So that was my successful moment. Also, for some of you, it may be traveling 1 to 2 hours after work and making it home safely and alive. That's successful. The thing is that when we start daring to achieve these things, the success comes and we see those gold stars and we see that arrow moving us forward. And you know that saying about a body in motion stays in motion? Well, the thing is when you start putting those 3 concepts together about daring to achieve a successful, it's going to lead right into our next one, which is happy. Now, I'm not talking about being happy all the time. What I'm talking about is finding that balance between work and play. Because when you have achieved and gotten that success, it comes into your soul. And it is only natural that you would feel good about yourself and you would feel great about your life and you would become a happier person. Some people, they look at others to make them happy. Make your own joy. In fact, here's what I'd like you to do tomorrow morning. When that alarm goes off and you're like, I don't want to get up out of bed, I want you to get up and I want you to go into your bathroom. And as soon as you get in your bathroom, I want you to see yourself in the mirror. And you're going to be looking at yourself and your hair's going to be all messed up and you've got this grouchy look on your face. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and I want you to say, I'm H-A-P-P-Y. And then I dare you not to laugh or giggle or smile at yourself. Because you're going to. Because you're looking at yourself and it's like, I'm H-A-P-P-Y? Right away, that happy switch in your brain is going to flip on. And your original intention of the day, which was going to be, I don't want to get up, because your happy switch flipped in your brain, your intention for the day is going to change immediately. And not only are you going to be a happier person because you really started your day now with a giggle and a laugh and a smile, when you go out in the world, you're going to create a ripple effect with other people by saying, good morning, good afternoon, how are you doing? I'm great, thanks for asking. It's that happiness that comes from achieving and being successful because you're originally ready to be daring about what you want for your life. So now that we know a little more about the dash and what that means to live your best dash, I'd like to take you to a very special place. Come on along with me. I want to welcome you to my dad's gravesite. My dad passed away 13 years ago from cancer. And every time I come to his gravesite and I see his dash, I can look at it and the story that his dash tells me that first off, he did indeed live his best life. But more than that, he truly lived his best dash. Just a couple of examples of how I know that. He was daring as a young man to believe and dream of having a life that was better than the life his parents had. He dared to believe that he could have a family. He could own a home. He could have a job. He dared to dream of these things. And because he dared to dream, that's exactly what he achieved. He achieved getting married, having a family of 3 children. He achieved getting that job, all of those things. And kind of in a fun way that I know it's probably stretching it just a bit, but this is one of the things that my dad thought about achievement. I'm 16 years old. I'm driving back home. I pull up in front of the house, and I have some of my friends in the car with me. And I notice my dad is in the driveway, and he's waxing the car. Now, that's no big deal because he did that all the time. For him, that was a sense of relaxation, and it was a happy thing for him. So we all get out of the car, and as I'm walking up to my dad and he's waxing the car, I notice what he's waxing the car with. And I cannot believe what I'm seeing. And I said, Dad, what are you doing? And he said, I'm waxing the car. And I said, but what are you using to wax the car? And he goes, oh, it's a woman's maxi pad. I go, why in the world would you be using that? And he goes, Patti, I discovered it achieves the best shine on a car. Now that's stretching achievement a little bit, but that was one of the fun things about my dad, is how he looked at these things when it came to achievement. Success. He was married to my mom for 51 years, and if he wouldn't have passed away from cancer, they'd still be married today. He retired after 40 years with the same company, which in today's world is almost unheard of. And when it came to happy, oh my gosh, my dad's smile, his laughter, it radiated to everyone. It just made you happy also. But I think a couple of the times that I saw my dad the happiest was knowing that here he was, he barely made it out of high school, and he watched his 3 children at 3 different times receive their college degree. And then the first time that I saw him hold each one of his grandchildren for the very first time, the smile on his face, oh my goodness, you could tell he was so very happy. Now the thing is, after my dad's celebration of life service, many of you might think that when everybody went on their way back to their home, that was it as far as my dad's dash went. And that his legacy, it continued, but his dash was done. But here's where I can tell you that that's not true. 2 of the ways that I can tell you right now is this sweatshirt that I brought on stage with me. This sweatshirt was my dad's sweatshirt, and he wore it every time we went camping. So after he passed away, I wanted that sweatshirt. And as you heard in the introduction, I've been traveling the United States for the last 4.5 years in my RV. When I'm camping, not to say that I wear this all the time, but most of the time, I'm wearing that sweatshirt. And when I wear that sweatshirt, it reminds me of the man that used to wear it, and the things that he taught me, and the seeds he planted of his knowledge into me. It also comes through with something that I also inherited from him. This handkerchief was his. In fact, this is edition number 3. Because I literally wore to threads the first 2 over the last 13 years. Every time I put my hand in my pocket, and I carry this with me every day, it reminds me of how my dad lived his best dash, and to remind me about living mine. So that does bring me to my dash, because I can't ask you if you're living your best dash if I'm not living mine. The thing is, after teaching, and that had been my sole purpose and passion in life, it's like, who was I going to be? What was I about? What did I have to offer? Because many times we're told in our society that when you are retired, you're out to pasture. You have nothing left to give. And yet, that is so false. The thing is, if you choose to sit on your porch in a rocking chair, you go for it, but you be the best rocker that's out there. With me, I went back to school 7 years ago when I retired. I became a life cycle celebrant. I started my own business at 60 years old. This past May at 62, I started a podcast. And now, approaching 63 years old next month, here I am in Wilmington, Delaware, on a TEDx stage doing a TEDx talk. I mean, come on! How absolutely cool is that? I am living my best dash. And the reason I'm talking about that is because I want the same for every one of you. You deserve it. Live that dash by the things that bring you joy, bring you passion. When I think about all that has transpired over my life, especially over the last 7 years, and talking to other people about living their best dash, the number one thing that I want you to remember, that it is never too late to create a legacy that you can be proud of. Believe in yourself, because your life matters. This motto that is on the screen is one that I basically have lived by my entire life. But in the past 7 years that I've been retired, it has become my mantra. And I want to share it with you now. Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely and pretty in a well-preserved body, but rather skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride!" I want you to be daring to achieve a successful and happy life. Because your life matters. Life's an adventure, and I want you to enjoy the journey. Thank you so much.